Although they've closed on thousands of home loans from Hawaii to the Virgin Islands, yours is the one they care about most.
Capital Mortgage Services, your hometown mortgage bros.
The Bob Mills and K-Max Skycam Network.
With over a dozen high-definition cameras around the South Plains and K-Max Storm Team meteorologists at the desk, we've got you and your family covered when winter weather hits.
The Bob Mills Skycam Network.
You're watching Talking Points, a focus on the political scene in Lubbock and across the South Plains.
Welcome back to the show. Here's a look at some of the political headlines of the past week. Hopefully you all set your clocks forward last night for daylight saving time, but the debate to put an end to it is hitting the Texas legislature yet again, with bills filed in both the Texas House and the Senate. Something to watch. And Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi is in Texas this week, telling a crowd at the Democratic Party fundraiser in Austin there that people in Texas need to know their power. Ms. Pelosi also talked about voter suppression, gun violence, and immigration. Also this week down in Austin, school security experts gave their input on a new school safety bill. This follows months of roundtable discussions and legislative hearings after the deadly shooting at a Santa Fe high school. KMAC's Wes Rappaport has more.
A standing ovation for Santa Fe's district board president from lawmakers, acknowledging how the Southeast Texas community handled the deadly shooting on campus last year.
The community of Santa Fe is very strong. The students of Santa Fe ISD are very resilient.
Lawmakers heard hours of testimony on the Senate's proposal to strengthen school safety in Texas. The new bill requires districts to form a threat assessment team, come up with operations planning for emergencies, and consider increasing law enforcement presence.
If you're not safe, it doesn't matter how well you're educated, and frankly, if you're not safe on your schools, it obviously doesn't matter.
Some districts have already made changes. Alpine ISD installed a clear backpack policy after a shooting there, and Rawls ISDs allowed certain staff members to be armed. Santa Fe ISD's board president says there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
What the community of Santa Fe needs, based on the fact that we had a tragedy, is different than the way a neighboring school district or no one may look at that.
The bill takes a two-pronged approach to funding, one-time investments like hardening of campuses and ongoing payments for things like violence prevention.
I'm particularly interested in how we allocate the resources for mental health.
Failure in this is not an option. We owe it to our children. We owe it to future generations to create the safe environment for their educational experience.
And here to spend 5 good minutes with us is Dr. Kathy Rollo. She is the superintendent of Lubbock ISD and has been for now a full year.
Yes, a little bit over a year.
So tell us about that year. What goals have you all achieved that you wanted to kind of coming into this position?
Well, probably the largest goal that we achieved, and I didn't actually know that we were going to do this when I first came on board, but was passing our bond election in November. The impetus behind that was creating safety and security in our facilities, and so we are very excited and extremely grateful to our community for their support in that effort.
And so what is the update? I know we've talked a lot about those security and safety updates. Where are you guys in that process?
We are in the planning stages, so we're working with architects and developing plans so that we can begin the work very soon.
That's obviously something that's been talked about so much down at the Capitol and in the legislature.
Yes.
But something else that has a big focus this week, the different teacher funding and teacher pay raise bills that have been talked about. The version in the House, obviously very comprehensive, and the version in the Senate, obviously just offering a $5,000 raise for teachers and librarians.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your take from the district as you look at these two different bills. What is the district thinking?
Well, I'll start with the Senate Bill 3, which is a $5,000 pay increase for teachers, and we're also very grateful that the Senate expanded that to librarians as well. We absolutely believe that teachers need to be paid more. We need to bring value to that profession. It is very challenging, difficult work, and the teachers who do that with passion. But the extra money does bring value to that, and it also helps us when we recruit teachers as well as retain teachers. We are at a day and time where fewer and fewer and fewer students are actually going into the teaching profession, and so this will hopefully help bolster that. So we're excited about that. Behind every great teacher and librarian librarian is a great support system of teaching assistants, nurses, counselors, campus secretaries, and so we would love to see that expanded to cover more people, but we're grateful to have that for teachers and librarians being considered.
And so obviously, you know, these two bills being very different, what's the hope that some reconciliation can come? Is that a fear for you guys, just seeing how different the two bills are?
Well, House Bill 3 is actually a very comprehensive reformation of school finance, and so for the first time things seem to be coming together in that area. We are thrilled that the state is considering putting $9 billion in addition to what they have been doing into public education. That's crucial. And so House Bill 3 actually covers teacher raises, teacher quality. It covers so many factions that full day pre-K, that was our #1 legislative agenda item when we started this session. And so we're excited to see that the state is considering a complete overhaul of school funding.
Definitely something to be watching. I know that's kind of all eyes down at the Capitol watching that take place. But something else right back here at home we wanted to talk with you about. I know there was a lot of concern about Dunbar after the rating from the state came out. There was some fears that it may close or the future of it seemed uncertain. But if you could give people an update of where you guys are with that.
Yes, we have been working diligently since August, very closely with the state. I can tell you right now, hands down, we are not closing Dunbar. So if anyone hears anything, that's the main thing I want them to hear. Dunbar, we are moving forward with it being a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. You will see most things look very similar. The school has had vast progress over the last 3 years, and so we want to keep the things that are working in place. But you'll also see some enriching things as well. You'll see additional funding for more time for learning, so students will have more time for learning, more time for enrichment as well. You're going to see some additional supports around social emotional learning and helping to truly meet the needs of our students in Dunbar. And so we're excited about the potential and the possibilities as we move forward into next school year.
Good to hear. It's so good to see such an emphasis this legislative session focused on our public schools. So anything else you guys are looking forward to?
We're just excited about planning for next year and finishing this year very strong. We've had a great year.
And hopefully going to have a great spring break as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Dr. Kathy Rollo, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Avery.
Well, of course, as the legislature looks to reform school finances, that plays a role in your property taxes. A new bill in the legislature addresses property tax reform directly, but a letter signed by Mayor Pope and dozens of other Texas mayors expresses some concerns and even suggests some possible changes to the bill. Right now, local governments can raise property tax revenues up to 8% before having to hold an election. This proposed bill in both chambers would actually cap that rate to 2.5%. In the letter addressed to co-author of the bill, our Representative Dustin Burrows, the mayors say they like the idea of property tax reform, but this cap is just, quote, not workable, especially since those taxes fund our public safety and our public resources.
Every city is very different, so there's not a cookie cutter kind of city that you can put on this and where impact everyone the very same way.
I look at HB 2 as a safeguard that protects all of us as taxpayers. If our elected officials want to raise our taxes for whatever reason beyond 2.5%, they're going to have to come ask our permission.
As you can hear there, not everybody agrees with our mayors, so you can hear more from that county commissioner on our website. But in the meantime, the mayor says they are closely working with Representative Burrows while this bill is in committee. Well, still to come, another lawsuit is filed against the Lubbock County Medical Examiner, but the pathology group named in that suit says it's baseless. We'll take a closer look.